Your Honor, before we proceed, I have something the defendant posted online last night. I think the court should see it. The prosecutor's words landed in the Providence Municipal Court like a stone dropped into still water. Tristan Lockwood's confident expression flickered for just a moment before he caught himself and reset his face into practiced indifference. His attorney, Sterling Ashford, leaned forward, his polished demeanor suddenly tense. Your Honor, we have no knowledge of any video or social media post relevant to these proceedings. The prosecutor cut in, her voice steady. It was an Instagram story, posted at 11:47 p.m. last night, deleted at 7:23 this morning. We have a screen recording. Tristan turned to his attorney, his voice low but audible in the quiet courtroom. That's not possible. I deleted it. Judge Caprio's eyes moved from the prosecutor to the defendant, and something in his expression sharpened. The internet has a longer memory than you think, Mr. Lockwood. Proceed. Timestamp. 10:27 a.m. Prosecutor requests admission of video evidence obtained from defendant's deleted social media post. In the gallery, Graham Lockwood shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He was a man accustomed to control, to knowing exactly what was happening in every situation that involved his family. But he didn't know about any video. His son hadn't mentioned it. And the look on Tristan's face, a mix of confusion and barely concealed panic, told him something was very wrong. The video was 2 minutes and 14 seconds long. By the end of it, everything would be different. Tell us where you're watching from. But Tristan Lockwood had no idea what was on that recording. Judge Caprio nodded toward the clerk. Miss Brennan, can we play this on the courtroom monitor? The clerk adjusted her glasses and moved toward the equipment. Yes, Your Honor. Give me just a moment. Caprio looked at Tristan, his voice calm but carrying an edge. Let's see what Mr. Lockwood wanted to share with the world. The monitor flickered to life. The video quality was clear, a screen recording of an Instagram story. Tristan's face filled the frame, clearly visible, unmistakably him. He was in what looked like a bedroom, expensive furnishings barely visible in the background. His expression was casual, almost amused. Then his voice began. Got court tomorrow for that thing with the old man. Whatever. Dad's lawyer says I'll get community service, maybe a fine. Big deal. He paused, grinning at the camera. The guy was asking for it anyway. Who tells someone to be quiet at 1A? Mind your business, boomer. Judge Caprio held up his hand. Pause it there, please. The image froze on Tristan's smirk. The courtroom was absolutely silent. Mr. Lockwood, the old man you're referring to, that's Donald Weaver? Tristan had gone pale, his earlier confidence evaporating. I was just venting. I didn't mean... You didn't mean what? That he was asking for it? A 62-year-old retired firefighter asked to be beaten unconscious in the street? Video transcript excerpt, defendant Tristan Lockwood. Posted to Instagram stories 11:47 p.m., night before court hearing. The guy was asking for it anyway. Who tells someone to be quiet at 1 a.m.? Mind your business, boomer. Sterling Ashford stood, his voice measured but strained. Your Honor, my client was clearly intoxicated and speaking carelessly. This was a private social media post. Private? He posted it to Instagram, where 200 people viewed it before he deleted it. And intoxicated, yes, Mr. Ashford. He was intoxicated when he committed the assault. He was intoxicated when he posted this video. I'm sensing a pattern. But the first part of the video was the least damaging. Caprio gestured to the clerk. Continue the video. The playback resumed. Tristan's voice filled the courtroom again, casual and dismissive. And this Judge Caprio, or whatever everyone says, he's so tough. Please, he's like 80 years old. What's he gonna do, lecture me? I've been lectured by prep school deans scarier than him. Caprio paused the video again. The silence that followed was heavier than before. His voice, when he spoke, was calm. Almost too calm. Prep school deans. I see. Tristan's hands were trembling slightly. Your Honor, I was being stupid. I didn't mean any disrespect. You didn't mean disrespect when you said I was too old to scare you? When you compared me to a prep school dean and found me lacking? Tristan didn't answer. He couldn't. Caprio leaned forward slightly. I've been on this bench for over 40 years, Mr. Lockwood. I've seen young men like you before. They come in thinking their family name is a shield. They leave learning it's not. Timestamp 10:34 a.m. Courtroom video playback includes defendant mocking presiding judge by name. Graham Lockwood had gone completely still in the gallery. His hands were folded in his lap, but the knuckles were white. He hadn't known his son had posted this. He was learning, in real time, exactly who Tristan had become. Like this video if you think the internet never forgets. But the worst part of the video was still coming. Caprio looked at the prosecutor. There's more? There is, Your Honor. If you'd like to continue. Caprio nodded. The video resumed. Tristan's voice, still light and unconcerned. My dad's already in damage control mode. Tristan, this reflects on the family. Blah, blah, blah. He'll write a check, I'll do some fake apology, and we'll all move on. That's how it works when you're a Lockwood. The courtroom held its breath. In the gallery, Graham Lockwood stood slowly from his seat. His face had drained of color. Attorney Ashford turned in his chair, whispering urgently to Tristan. Why didn't you tell me about this? Tristan's voice was panicked now. Barely a whisper. I deleted it. No one was supposed to see. Judge Caprio's voice cut through the tension. Mr. Lockwood, the elder, would you like to step outside? You don't have to watch this. Graham's voice was steady, but hollow. No, Your Honor. I want to hear the rest. Video transcript excerpt. He'll write a check, I'll do some fake apology, and we'll all move on. That's how it works when you're a Lockwood. Defendant, 11:48 p.m., referring to expected intervention by Father Graham Lockwood, CEO Lockwood Maritime Group. Caprio looked at the prosecutor. Is there more? One more section, Your Honor. What came next made Graham Lockwood put his head in his hands. The video continued. Tristan's final words. Honestly, I hope the old guy learned his lesson. Don't talk to people you don't know. Especially not me. The video ended. The frozen image of Tristan's smirk remained on the screen. 5 seconds. 7, 10, 12. In that silence, a father realized he had raised a stranger. Graham Lockwood sat back down slowly, his movements mechanical, his hands pressed together, staring at nothing. Tristan looked back at his father, but Graham's eyes were fixed on some distant point beyond the courtroom walls. Judge Caprio's voice broke the silence. Mr. Lockwood, you said you hoped the victim learned his lesson. What lesson would that be? Tristan's voice was small. I don't know. I was just talking. You were just talking. About a man you put in the hospital. A man who spent 34 years running into burning buildings to save people he'd never met. A man who now works as a school crossing guard because he believes in protecting children. Caprio's voice hardened. And you hope he learned his lesson? Victim profile Donald Weaver, 62. Retired Providence Fire Department after 34 years of service. Medals of Commendation, 3. Lives saved, documented, 17. Currently serves as volunteer school crossing guard at Lincoln Elementary School, known in neighborhood as Mr. Don. Caprio continued, his words precise and cutting. Let me tell you what Mr. Weaver learned, Mr. Lockwood. He learned that some young men have no concept of consequences. He learned that being polite can get you beaten. He learned that even after 34 years of service to his community, someone can kick him while he's down and then brag about it online. Subscribe if you believe actions should have consequences regardless of who your parents are. But the victim's daughter had something to add. Your Honor, I understand we have a statement from the victim's family? A young woman stood from the gallery and approached the front of the courtroom. She was composed, professional, but her eyes held a fire that hadn't been there when she sat down. Your Honor, my name is Stephanie Weaver. Donald Weaver is my father. She paused, looking directly at Tristan. I'm the one who recorded that video and sent it to the prosecutor this morning. Tristan stared at her, recognition dawning. Stephanie continued, her voice steady. A friend of a friend shared it in a group chat last night. Some people thought it was funny. I didn't. My father has a broken wrist. 4 months later, he still can't grip things properly. He can barely hold a cup of coffee. He has to ask for help opening jars. He has 2 cracked ribs. It hurts him to laugh, and my dad loves to laugh. He's the kind of man who tells terrible jokes just to see people smile. Now he has to choose between laughing and breathing without pain. He has a fractured cheekbone. My 3-year-old daughter asked me why Grandpa's face is purple and yellow. I didn't know what to tell her. Her voice wavered slightly, but didn't break. For 2 months he couldn't pick her up. She kept running to him with her arms up, asking for hugs, and he had to say no. She cried. He cried every single time. Stephanie Weaver's statement to court. He beat my father so badly, he couldn't hold his granddaughter for 2 months. Then he went online and bragged about it. I made sure someone saw who he really is. Stephanie looked at Tristan, her voice colder now. You didn't just hurt my father. You humiliated him. You treated him like he was nothing, like his life didn't matter, like his service didn't matter. And then you went online and said he learned his lesson. She took a breath. The only lesson here is that people like you think money makes you untouchable. I wanted to make sure this court saw who you really are. I recorded that video at 11:52 p.m., 5 minutes after you posted it. You deleted it at 7:23 this morning. You can delete whatever you want, Mr. Lockwood. The truth doesn't disappear. Judge Caprio nodded slowly. Thank you, Miss Weaver. Your father raised a brave daughter. Stephanie returned to her seat. Tristan was staring at the table in front of him, his face ashen. Subscribe if you think respect for family should never be optional. But the most dramatic moment was still coming from Tristan's own father. Graham Lockwood stood again, this time with purpose. Your Honor, may I address the court? Caprio looked at him carefully. You're not a party to this case, Mr. Lockwood, but given the circumstances, I'll allow it. Graham walked forward, his footsteps echoing in the silent courtroom. He didn't look at Tristan. He kept his eyes on Judge Caprio. I've spent my entire career building something I thought had meaning, a company that employs 3,000 people, a reputation for integrity in an industry that doesn't always value it, a family. He paused. I've made mistakes as a father. I worked too much. I prioritized business over presence. When Tristan got into trouble, I fixed it. I thought I was protecting him. His voice hardened. I was wrong. Graham Lockwood's statement, I thought I was protecting him. What I was really doing was teaching him that consequences don't apply to people like us. That's not protection. That's corruption. And that's my failure. Graham continued, his voice steady but laced with pain. I didn't know about this video until 5 minutes ago. I didn't know my son thought my concern for our family was damage control. I didn't know he saw me as an ATM with a lecture attached. But I know now. He turned, finally, to look at Tristan. I've spent 20 years cleaning up after you, paying off problems, making things disappear, hiring expensive attorneys to negotiate away consequences. And all I did was convince you that nothing matters, that actions don't have weight, that people are disposable. I'm done. Sterling Ashford half stood. Mr. Lockwood, perhaps we should discuss this privately before. No. Graham's voice was firm. I want this on the record. He turned back to Judge Caprio. I am withdrawing my financial support from my son's defense. Mr. Ashford, you're fired from this case. Tristan will need to find his own attorney or accept a public defender if he qualifies. I will not post bail if it's revoked. I will not pay fines. I will not make this go away. Tristan's voice came out desperate. Dad, you can't. Graham cut him off, his voice ice. I can. And I should have done it years ago. Comment karma if you think he got what he deserved. But Graham Lockwood wasn't finished. He turned to Judge Caprio again. Your Honor, I'd like to make one more statement, if the court will permit it. Caprio nodded. Go ahead. I will be donating $100,000 to the Providence Firefighters Pension Fund in honor of Donald Weaver and his 34 years of service to this city. I will also be establishing a scholarship in Mr. Weaver's name at Lincoln Elementary School, where he serves as crossing guard for children who want to pursue careers in public service. Graham's voice softened slightly. This doesn't fix what my son did. Nothing can. But I want Mr. Weaver to know that not everyone with the name Lockwood believes they're above consequences. Not everyone thinks service is something to mock. Donation announcement. Graham Lockwood, CEO Lockwood Maritime Group, $100,000 donation to Providence Firefighters Pension Fund. Additional endowment. Donald Weaver Scholarship for Public Service, Lincoln Elementary School. Total commitment, $250,000. Graham looked toward the gallery, where Donald Weaver sat with his daughter. Mr. Weaver, I am deeply sorry for what my son did to you. You deserved better. You've spent your life protecting people, and my son repaid that with violence and mockery. I can't take back his actions, but I can stop enabling them. Donald Weaver's voice was quiet but clear. Thank you, sir. That means something. Graham returned to his seat, not next to where Tristan sat, but 3 rows back. Tristan sat alone at the defendant's table, utterly isolated. And then Judge Caprio delivered his ruling. Caprio removed his glasses and set them on the bench. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of 4 decades of dispensing justice. Mr. Lockwood, Tristan, I've seen a lot in my years on this bench. I've seen genuine remorse. I've seen denial. I've seen fear and anger and everything in between. What I saw in that video was none of those things. What I saw was contempt. Contempt for your victim. Contempt for this court. Contempt for your own father who has spent his life trying to give you opportunities you've squandered. You posted that video because you thought you were untouchable. You thought it was funny. You thought no one who mattered would see it. But here's what you didn't understand. Everyone matters. The victim matters. His daughter matters. The 200 people who watched that video before you panicked and deleted it, they matter. And every person in this courtroom today matters. Caprio's case notes defendant demonstrates clear contempt for court, victim, and family. No evidence of genuine remorse. Video statement constitutes potential witness intimidation. Statement that victim should learn his lesson. Flight risk elevated given withdrawal of family financial support. Caprio continued, his voice hardening. Based on the video evidence presented today, I am adding a charge of witness intimidation to the existing charges. Saying you hope the victim learned his lesson constitutes an implied threat. I am revoking your bail effective immediately. You will be held in county custody until your trial date. Tristan's head snapped up. Your Honor. Please. This case is being referred to Superior Court for felony prosecution. The charges you face, felony assault, witness intimidation, could result in significant prison time. Your Honor, I didn't mean what I said in that video. Caprio's voice was steel. You didn't mean what you said? You said it twice, Mr. Lockwood. Once when you beat a 62-year-old man unconscious in the street, and once when you bragged about it to 200 people online. Actions have consequences. Your father finally understood that. It's time you did too. He nodded to the bailiff. Officer Hayes, please take the defendant into custody. Officer Curtis Hayes approached the defense table. Tristan stood on shaking legs as handcuffs were placed on his wrists. He looked back toward the gallery, searching for his father's face. Graham Lockwood didn't look up. Custody order defendant Tristan Lockwood remanded to Providence County Jail pending Superior Court arraignment. Bail revoked. Additional charge filed. Witness intimidation. Case referred for felony prosecution. 7 months passed. Tristan Lockwood, represented by a public defender after his father's withdrawal of support, pled guilty to felony assault causing serious bodily injury and witness intimidation. He was sentenced to 18 months in state prison, followed by 3 years of supervised probation and $50,000 in restitution to Donald Weaver. Sentencing record: Tristan Lockwood. Guilty plea. Assault causing serious bodily injury. Witness intimidation. Sentence: 18 months incarceration. Rhode Island State Prison. 3 years supervised probation. $50,000 restitution to victim. Anger management completion required. No contact with victim or family. Graham Lockwood kept every word of his promise. He did not pay bail. He did not hire private attorneys. He did not intervene in the proceedings. The $100,000 donation to the firefighters' pension fund was completed within 30 days. The scholarship at Lincoln Elementary was established and fully funded. The first recipient was a 10-year-old girl named Amara who wanted to be a paramedic. Donald Weaver attended the award ceremony. He held his granddaughter Lily in his arms the entire time. His wrist had finally healed. Medical update: Donald Weaver. Full recovery achieved. Wrist mobility restored to 95%. Returned to crossing guard duties March 2025. Granddaughter Lily, age 3, reportedly tells classmates her grandfather is the strongest grandpa in the whole world. Stephanie Weaver was promoted to senior paralegal at her law firm 6 months after the hearing. The partners cited her unwavering commitment to justice and truth. She framed the screenshot of her email to the prosecutor's office, sent at 6:15 a.m. The morning of the hearing. The caption she wrote beneath it read simply, "The truth doesn't disappear." 8 months after the sentencing, Graham Lockwood visited his son in prison. It was the first time they'd seen each other since the courtroom. They sat across from each other in the visiting area, a scratched plexiglass barrier between them. For several minutes, neither spoke. Finally, Graham broke the silence. "I'm not here to fix this. I'm not here to make it easier." Tristan's voice was hoarse. "Then why are you here?" "Because you're still my son. That doesn't change, but everything else has to." Tristan nodded slowly, tears running down his face. "I'm sorry, Dad, for all of it, for what I said, for who I became." Graham's expression didn't soften, but something in his eyes shifted. "I know. Now prove it. Not to me. To yourself. To the man you hurt. To everyone you've treated like they don't matter. Do better. Be better. Not because I'm forcing you to, because you actually want to be someone worth respecting. Share this with someone who needs to see that privilege has an expiration date." Judge Caprio kept a printed screenshot of the video's final frame in a file in his office. Tristan's smirk, frozen in digital amber. Beneath it, he'd written a single line in his careful handwriting. "The internet never forgets. Neither does justice. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting."